Okay, this is CorelDRAW X6. I'm going to show you how to make a stencil. Now I've already got the picture in here, but you want the background size to be set at 8.5 by 11, which is a standard sheet of paper. This is a picture here. Now the picture doesn't have to be 8.5 by 11. It can be any size you want, but you want to center the object that you're going to put on it in the 8.5 by 11 stencil. Okay, and now that we got the picture there, we're going to make a new layer. Go down here, we're going to click new layer, and we're going to call this black and white background. Okay, so we got the black and white background. We want to make sure this is selected. Now we could posterize this, change it to black and white, but the killer whale is already black and white, so we're pretty much got everything we need done. So we're just going to go with that. So I'm going to enlarge the image so I can get a nice close-up. You notice how it gets real pixelated. No worries. Okay, now I'm going to go to my tools here, and I'm going to select B, shape line tool. Okay, there's a reason why I use that, and you'll see here in a minute. Start at one spot, and just every quarter inch or so we will just kind of go right along, and we're going to outline the whole of the whale. Now see how the line will actually bend? This will give a very smooth rounded edge to the picture. As we outline it. You don't have to be exactly exact, but you should be relatively close to the outside edge of the picture. And we can adjust some things as we go later on. I'll show you that. Now we could go so far as to add the tail, but this guy is standing up in the water, so that's why I'm going to keep him. See how that line bends? go around an edge like that, just put a couple of clicks right in there. That'll keep it nice and clean for you. And going around the corners, just make your clicks a little closer together, and it'll help keep a nice clean outline. For your well. Now, in case you haven't figured it out by now, all I'm doing to move the picture around is just going off the screen with the mouse and then going back. Okay, and this B shape line tool, once you complete the circle and you get back to the last node and click on it, it'll give you a line. Now this line needs to be hairline. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the line and we're going to switch it to hairline, because that's what I should have done to start with. Okay, so now let's zoom back out a little bit. Zoom out a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so now let's hide the picture. That's the outline of the well. The outside of the 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper is going to be the template for a white background. Now if you have a black background, you'll use the inner portion of the cutout for your black backgrounds. Okay, so let's turn that picture back on and we're going to start a new layer. Okay, because we already got our black and white background layer, we'll go ahead and just hide that. Actually no, we'll leave that on there. Okay, so now we're going to do our second layer, which is all the white. Okay, so you always start with a black background and then do the white over the black. So we're going to do a white background. We'll call it white overlay. We're going to select that one, and then we're going to magnify it nice and good size. Okay, and then we're going to select our B shape line tool again, and we're just going to outline all of the white. Oops, kind of got a little out of there. Hold on. There we go. We're good. Okay. And don't worry about big pixels like that. That's nothing to worry about whatsoever. Okay, and that one's not hairline, so let's put that back to hairline. Okay, now we're going to do the next white. Now I'm doing this in real time, and it's going to be long and boring, but nobody ever does it in real time, and they always chop it up and make it really short, and a lot of these videos just don't show enough of what's being done in order to really truly learn. So take your time, watch the whole video, and then go out and try and make your own stencil. I'm going to go right along the edge of this line that we got here. Remember, you don't have to be exact. You just want to get right along close to the edges. Get your white going on here. Okay, see, I went outside the line there. We'll fix that in a little bit. Show you how to fix the mistake. That's probably just a water droplet, but I went ahead and went around it anyway. Kind of gives the white character, I think. So I could have easily just cut that right off and just kept it nice and clean, but I went ahead and did it anyway. Don't really matter. Catch right along this line here. I'm just going to overlap the line. You're overlapping the line. Keep them fairly close together. That way your line actually overlaps. Okay, as I was going around the white, I went over the teeth by accident. I corrected that later. You would have not included the teeth in the white that you want to do later. Second one. switch that to hairline. Okay, so let's squeeze out. Okay, let's get rid of that. So now we have the white. So we got our background, and then we got our second layer, which is all the heavy white. Okay, so what you would do is, if you're on a white background, you would just spray black all in here and then overlay the white over that, and it'd give you that. Alright, so let's see. We needed to fix a few spots in here, so we're going to do that. Find out where they were. Let's see. Let me switch to the pick tool. Zoom in a little closer. Okay, here it is. We'll go to the zoom. Alright, and then we'll select this line, double click it, and then we'll grab this little node here and just push the line in. See that? Real simple. Okay, so let's kind of go down. We'll look over everything. Let's take a closer look right here. Okay, we'll select this line, double click it, and we'll just pull these nodes off just a little bit. Okay. Now if there isn't a node somewhere, you can just double click and it'll make a node so that you can pull it away a little bit. There we go. And grab that one out just a little bit. Perfect. Okay, so let's go down. We'll look down here. We'll shrink this up. I clicked off to the left just to deselect that line. That's all good. We fixed that area. Okay, let's zoom in right here. Zoom in right here. And we're going to take the pick tool. I'm going to select this line, double click, and we're going to just pull that away from the other line just a little bit. We're going to make a node here by double clicking, scoot it out. And the reason why I'm doing it, pulling it away, is because this is white. So if you get a overlay or a white background, you want a little bit of your black background to overlap the white background. So you're going to want that to be just a little bit inside of the whale. Not a lot, just a little. And you see how the line kind of crossed over here. See how we can correct this if we made the line all messed up? No problem. We just correct it a little bit. And we just pull it off here. Make sure you're on the node. Alright, now I noticed earlier that, oops, let me shrink down, that we were on the teeth a little bit. So let's take a look at that. Yeah, see right here, we need to pull these down out of the teeth. Okay, let's get a little bit closer here. We'll take this, just kind of smooth that out a little bit. And then take a look. Bring that one down a little bit. That one down a little bit. That one up a little bit. We'll add one here and bring it down a little bit. Bring that down a little bit. There we go. Add one there. Double click, add one there. Pull that one down a little bit. Pull that one down a little bit. Okay, so now we're out of the teeth. We'll do the teeth afterwards. Okay, so now, let's see, was that, yeah, okay. So now we got that. Okay, so now we're going to make a new layer. But let's see what we want to make the new layer for. Okay, we need the new layer for highlights, or basically grays. Alright, so we got the black, which is put on with the outline of the whole well, and we got the white, which is put on with the second layer, which is all the white, and then we need the grays. See right here, the underside of the flippers, and some shading where the black kind of fades into the gray a little bit. Oh, the black kind of fades into the white just a little bit. Okay, so that's what we're going to do now. So we're going to make a new layer, and we'll call it black shade. Okay. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to enlarge this. It's easier to use the magnifying tool or zoom tool, and that way the area that you need is going to go right in the middle of the picture. Alright, so we got this section right here is kind of faded in. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our shape tool, click that, and we're going to basically just kind of, let me back out just a little bit more. I'm going to basically take see, this is a real highlighted white, but we need to go right here. So let me zoom that back in a little bit. What we're going to do is we're going to take, and on this stencil here, we're just going to go right along that, and make sure that's a hairline. Okay, so we got that spot. When you go to airbrush over that, you just simply put your airbrush right here and very lightly mist it with black, and that'll gray this area out, but not too much. Okay, so oops, if you accidentally click in there, just make the circle, and then go up here to cut or hit Control X, and it's gone. Alright, so we need to go to the flippers. We'll zoom in with the zoom tool so it's nice right in the middle, and then we'll go back to our shaping tool, and we're going to basically just outline the white Okay, see how we did that? Now I'm going to drag that node over just a little bit. Oh, crud. And we'll cut that off. There we go. We'll go to the pick tool, and then I'm going to pull that node over just a little bit here.
Which is Alex here? Alex, are you here? Are you sleeping? I got you something to drink. I got you something to drink. Okay, but I don't know which one you want. Whoever gets them gets whatever flavor first. Just, Danny, what kind do you want? There's sweet tea, kiwi, strawberry, or fruit punch?
Oh,
Sweet
strawberry.
Tea. The kiwi strawberry? Here you go. Or do you want it in the refrigerator? It's kind of cold from being on the shelf. Okay.
I'm in the middle of something right at the moment, dear. Okay, so now we're going to do the teeth. Put the background picture back. Okay, I like a little bit more teeth in my well, so I'm going to start way over here. We'll make little teethies here and there. Let's zoom in on this a little bit. Basically, we're just going to draw some teeth shape. Because this picture is much larger than the regular picture, you're not going to get all of the, I should say this picture was smaller and we're enlarging it a lot than the original. You get it all pixelated. So you're going to have to just basically do a little bit of groundwork and make the teeth look best you can. These teeth, once we're done, will wind up all as individual teeth. Now, we always want to do the stencil in a very large picture. That way we can put in as much detail as absolutely possible. That way we can cut it, or have the laser cut it, and have a nice high detail large picture. But if we ever want it smaller, we can simply shrink it down and we will lose no quality in the picture. Yes, some of the teeth may shrink down to nothing more than little black dots, but then again they will be the size you're wanting with your picture. But if you did this picture small and then tried to enlarge it to be cut by the laser stencil, your laser is going to be cutting out pixels that look like this whale. So it'll be all squared out. You don't want that. So always do your work as large as you can with as much detail as you can. If you want to cut it that large, then you cut it that large. If you don't want to cut it that large, well, then you just simply shrink it down. Okay, now teeth don't have to be exactly perfect, just somewhat kind of pointy. But you always want to make everything in hairline, because that's what the laser is capable of cutting, is a very, very fine hairline cut. Alright. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I did not make the teeth for the upper portion of the jaw in this video. But I can do that later. The main purpose of this is to get you started. Start you out with something simple and easy to do. That way, once you do it and you're successful at it, you'll be having a much better understanding of what you need to do. Yeah, see, I didn't make the teeth, but I did outline the white of the teeth. I actually should have made some little teeth in there, but I just kind of outlined it so that I could kind of fog in with the white, like what you're seeing in here. And you'll notice later that I kind of messed up and cut and cut some things off of one layer and rearranged them to another layer. But that's all part of stenciling. Some layers just don't want to work out on, some parts of your stencil just don't want to work out on the same layer. Like for instance, I made this one round here that I was going to use for fogging it in. It's easy enough done, but the teeth inside of that rounded hole would have just fallen out and I wouldn't have had that, so I wound up having to change it later. See how the teeth wound up inside of that? Starting to look like a whale now, ain't it? And I also noticed after watching this, because I am narrating it after the fact now, that right at the bottom there was a little black patch right about where the cross of the white is, down by the tail. That's not a big problem, as I could easily add that in with the airbrush. Now, you don't have to use an airbrush with a stencil. You can actually use a sponge and a little bit of black and white paint. Whenever it comes to the grays, you simply take the sponge, dab it out until it's just barely putting out a little bit of black from the sponge, and then just tap it lightly and that'll be your gray. And as far as shading is concerned, you just now here's where I decided to get rid of the teeth, and I was trying to figure out how to get all of these combined. All I had to do was press shift and then click on each one of the teeth, and it would just group the items all together. And once I got them all on, I just hit copy and then went up and hit cut, and then backed out and opened a whole new layer. Okay, I'm going to stop here and show the new layer. Okay. There we go. Sometimes you'll even name a layer improperly. Kind of like when I named the black fog. It technically wouldn't be the black fog because I also did the white shading or layers for the flippers on the same one. So you would have to know that one shaded area is going to be using black and then other shaded areas are going to be using white. That's why you always keep a copy of the original picture that you made whenever you make a stencil. That way you know what colors you're going to use. And nobody says you have to use the same color. I mean, if you wanted a big purple and green killer whale, you can make a purple and green killer whale. You don't have to have black and white. It's your imagination. A lot of this shading that you see on the whale, like this little spot here, there's a lot of it that I did not do on the whale here and there, but can easily be done while the other stencil's on, simply by very carefully taking your airbrush and giving it a little height and just kind of spraying here and there. That way everything doesn't look perfectly lined and straight and all that other good stuff. It gives it a little bit of a smoother look to it when it's completed, and you'll even want to, once you take the stencils all off, even touch up a little bit with just the airbrush to kind of fade the edges and soften the straight edges of the stencil. This helps a lot for making your finished product look seriously nice. Now here I'm outlining some really high end white areas. Okay, because whenever you do the larger white area, you're going to not be doing it just blast all out white. You're going to be doing it just enough to where it kind of looks white, but a little bit on the grayish side. And then when you come back to this stencil, you'll hit it a lot harder with a white. Okay, now there's a little white spot down here. That's probably just water, but I went ahead and circled it anyway. If anything, I can always change that to a black spot. And grab the node, kind of pull that out a little bit. That's what I like about this particular tool. I can add nodes and just kind of twist it and pull it a little bit here and there as needed to fine tune it. And that's what takes the longest with these stencils, is fine tuning everything. That's the difference between a really high end $300, $400, $500 stencil and a cheap $20 stencil. A $20 stencil you spend 20 minutes on. A $200, $300, $500 stencil you spend weeks on. You know, it's something that most people cannot do without a lot of time, effort, and patience in really getting the details down. Sometimes you'll even paint the picture itself and then realize, hey, this did not quite come out the way I wanted it to. I need to tweak this line here a little bit, this line there a little bit, and that's part of stenciling. And that's my job. If you're making stencils for me, I'll go over your stencil with a fine-tooth comb, do any minor adjustments that I may absolutely need to do, and obviously the less work I have to do on your stencil, the more money you're going to make for it. But for the most part, I'll probably just tell you, hey, can you adjust this, this, and this, and then resend me the pic or the stencils. And then you do that, and maybe you find a few things that maybe I missed. It's a give and take. You're going to get 50% of the profits off the sales of these stencils. And the higher end the stencil is, the more layers, the more detailed it is, the more money you're going to make off of that stencil. Now, are you going to make a lot of money off of a killer whale stencil? Probably not. But, you know, there's still the background stencils that got to go in, moon stencils, star stencils, tree stencils. If you want to do pinup girls, you can start doing pinup girls. But hey, a lot of people, when they get a pinup girl on their car or on a laptop or something, they're going to want a little bit of a background to it as well. Backgrounds are usually made up of 5, 10, sometimes 20 different stencils. Okay, so the stencils can be quite expensive if you're buying them to do the airbrushing. But just because you bought stencils for one project doesn't mean you can't reuse them on other projects, like the moons. You only need to buy the moons once, unless you damage them and don't clean them after you're done painting. Star stencils, you only need to buy them once, unless again you damage them from not cleaning them and leaving the paint on them and stuff like that. And I'll talk to you about stencil maintenance later, once people start actually buying the stencils. I'll put up a video for stencil maintenance. Okay, so something like this well here, all the way completed, tested, with a video instruction log on how to paint it. It'll go for about maybe $35. I don't know what exactly I did there by accident. Okay. This whole thing took me about an hour. I'll probably spend another hour on it, just fine-tuning and tweaking and looking at it, seeing what other things I can do to make it look good. I might add in the upper teeth, make them a little bit bigger, add layers. Now, I don't believe a lot of these guys that sell stencils, they're gonna arrange it on a little half sheet, quarter sheet, or oval cut sheet, and all that good stuff. I don't believe in that. I like, even if there's only going to be 2 or 3 little holes cut in the sheet for eyeballs or something like that, I would prefer it to be cut onto a full sheet. It prevents overspray from landing on your picture. So, I don't intend to be skimping on about 10 cents worth of plastic to save 10 cents over 500 stencils. Okay, we want high-end, high quality. We want a stencil that when you overlay it, you can simply put a couple pieces of tape in one corner to line up the stencil, and then each sheet will line up directly with that piece of tape, so that you get perfect placement of the stencil every time. If you look at some of these guys that are doing the stencils, they have their stencils cut in odd shapes. They're having to lift their stencil multiple times. They have to use a new stencil every time because they didn't clean it properly, or it just gets really faded to where you can't see through it anymore and can no longer see through the stencil in order to place it exactly right. So you wind up with a lot of mistakes, which costs you money because it costs you time. So if your stencil is all the way a full 8.5 by 11 sheet, no matter what's on the stencil, and they line up exactly perfect every single time, simply by putting a piece of tape corner over there and then just placing the corner of the stencil in that piece of tape and lining and having the whole sheet line it up for you for perfect placement, you don't have to worry about, you know, rearranging it and all of that other stuff. Now, there will be occasions where you just cannot avoid something like that. But, you know, that's going to be pretty rare and far between. So, if you ever order a stencil or ever make a stencil and you would like me to cut the stencil you made, I'll give you a serious break on the actual stencil that you made, because it's your artwork. Okay. Now I'm not going to tell you every time I click on a tool, because I already showed you what it was. I think I was renaming that layer. Don't remember right offhand because I'm narrating after the fact. But I think this is where I was rearranging some of the items on the stencils and making sure they were in hairline, because I forgot to put them in hairline. Now see, that's a whole 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. It's only got a couple of little holes in it, but when you overlay the other layers on top of it, everything lines up perfect. And all of these will be cut the same way on the laser cutter, so that whenever you lay one over the other, it lays over perfect, and you just add the color. Okay. Now remember, this is black and white. If you're doing a color picture, you're still going to work in black and white no matter what, because color is normally added on using what's called a candy. It will change the white into pretty much any color you want. Now you can use colored paints, and if you plan on using colored paints, you'll definitely want to separate your stencil by colors, and you don't want them too closely together, otherwise you'll wind up with color bleed off, you know, from the mist or fog from painting one color to the next will kind of fog and mist off the other color. So you need to keep that in mind, especially if you're airbrushing. Sponges, not so important for making a decent distance in between colored stencil holes. Okay. Now if you have two stencils on the same page that are really close, you need to make sure there's room in between each one. They can't be touching each other. If you have two holes on the same page and they're touching each other, that's actually one hole. So you need to pull the other one up just a little bit so that there's actually a piece of plastic going through there. Okay. Otherwise, instead of having two holes, you'll have one hole. Okay, so that's pretty much all the shading areas, both black and white. There goes the white, and there goes the outline. Now see how that actually looks like what we have now. Okay, I can't stress enough saving your project every 5 minutes or so, just in case your computer takes a dump. And don't forget, I'll be posting up a lot more tutorials on how exactly this all works. Okay, so I'll be doing this as well as the videos on the mapping of the Xbox 360 Slim. We had one guy already donate $40, so we're on our way. And you know, it's not just the 200. Okay, the more that I get donated to me, the more time I can allot to making and mapping out the videos for the Xbox 360 Slim. Okay, yes, the $200 is going to buy the Slim, but I need, and I will make the videos as time allows, even if no more donations come in. But if you continue to make donations, I can save them up and schedule an hour here, a whole day there. Get enough donations coming in, I can dedicate an entire week to nothing but getting videos made and posted on the Slim. The more money that comes in, the faster I can make the videos, the faster I can get that information out. Okay, because there's a give and take, guys. Money to pay the bills, time to make the videos. If you guys are donating money to cover what I would be making doing the repairs, then I can allot and schedule more time to specifically making these videos for you guys. Okay, so we'll be doing a lot more. Anyone interested in doing the stencils, go to online. Once you're ready and you think you're ready to try something like this, go download the trial version of CorelDRAW X6. You got 30 days to make a couple of stencils. Send them to me. If I like your work, I will unlock that program for you. That is a $490 some odd program that you'll have for free, so that you can make stencils for me to sell for you. Okay, that's what I'll do for you. You guys stay safe, happy gaming, and anybody who's interested in making stencils, I'll be putting up more tutorial videos. We'll get a little bit more detailed and more higher quality videos and stencils as we go using the CorelDRAW X6. Take care. Thank you much.